Hi, this is Michael, an amateur film critic, an even more amateur YouTuber, and a lover of everything Scooby-Doo. And today I have 5 ways to make better Scooby-Doo movies. Number 1, bring back the creepy laugh.
Probably just the wind.
Well, that's the first wind I ever heard with a sense of humor.
So, in the average runtime of a Scooby-Doo movie, the villain actually gets very little of that screen time, which means you need to make every moment that they're on screen count. And I feel like what made the original series so good was they used it wasn't always a creepy laugh, but some kind of iconic roar or noise or something to make these villains unique and stick into the audience's mind. And I feel like the modern movies are simply not doing that. Like it or not, people are watching these movies for the monster, and if you're lacking a seriously impactful auditory presence, you're shooting yourself in the foot before the race has even begun. I mean, take Space Coop, what most people consider to be one of the best Scooby-Doo monsters of all time, doesn't actually have that good of a visual design. I mean, it's okay, but it's nothing spectacular. But when you factor in the creepy laugh, then hot dang and mustard, you got yourself a good villain. But like I said, it doesn't just have to be a creepy laugh. Bring in the other examples.
Grab that phantom!
Number 2, keep the tone dark and scary. I know this sounds heavily like personal preference, but let me explain. Scooby-Doo works best when it's scary. Having a dangerous monster that poses a real threat not only makes the audience more engaged with the overall drama of the piece, but it also means that the moments of comedy are heightened and create levity in the space.
Legend has it, if you hear her terrifying wail, you're a goner. Dude, I did not need to hear that.
Too many Scooby films become afraid of pushing their viewers, sticking to a lighthearted tone the entire piece. Trust me, this only makes for a boring movie.
Now let's get that dog a hero suit. Huh?
The humor of Scooby and the gang is simply not strong enough to carry the entire movie.
Can I ride him? He looks nice. I bet he wouldn't stomp a fly.
Sure thing, little girl. Let me help you.
I'm not never mind.
Tell your mama to buy you some prettier dresses. Maybe a nice bow for your hair.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm not saying we should give children nightmares,
I don't like looking for clues anymore.
but I find it no coincidence that the best Scooby-Doo movie is Zombie Island, what most people consider to be the scariest. Number 3. Make an active choice about the Scooby-Doo gang's age and reflect accordingly in the story. That sounds a little bananas, but when I think back to some of my favorite Scooby-Doo movies, they all have this element. Think Scooby-Doo and Camp Scare, where their adult counselor is mentoring younger kids.
I'll be your counselor, mentor, hero.
You couldn't have that if they were some nebulous age anywhere from 16 to 25.
Why? Because of you meddling kids.
Hey, we're not kids!
Same thing with Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase, where they're going to a college. Or Scooby-Doo and the Creeper, where they're helping out their teenage dance. You can't tell these stories if you don't actually make an active choice on their age. Heck, the whole Scooby-Doo VHS era was defined by the adult-like nature of the Scooby-Doo gang. They were no longer teenagers, and thus were solving scarier and more difficult mysteries. And as a result, you get some of the best Scooby-Doo movies ever made. This sounds like a very minor thing, but I think it does a lot to ground what is normally unbelievable characters. And speaking of those unbelievable characters, number 4, fully realize every member of the gang. Basically, if the writers can write the other characters just as good as Fred, then these movies would be masterpieces.
This bumper sticker would be perfect on the Mystery Machine's bumper if I... I guess not. I almost thought I was going crazy, but now that I know I'm not going crazy, can I drive it?
Maybe you should just give them some space, Fred. Get it? Space. That's so funny.
I don't get it.
I love the circus. You know, I took that circus arts class last summer.
We know.
I think I really could have mastered the trapeze if I hadn't broken all those bones. The trick is to not fall.
That's great, Fred. But, like, not everyone loves
We gotta go see it tonight.
Really, I think we'd rather...
My treat.
Maybe some other...
I insist.
But we don't.
Well, I'm glad that's settled. You guys are gonna love it.
I think both Fred and Scooby are in really good places right now. It's the other members of the gang I have trouble with. Shaggy in particular puzzles me. In a lot of ways, he seems too similar to Scooby for my liking, making a group of 5 characters feel more like 4. Shaggy has nothing really unique that he brings to the table, nor does his being organically create story opportunities. And yet, I don't really know what I would change. Shaggy has seemingly slipped into the main character role, thus making enough happen around him to make the character seem interesting. I would love to give Shaggy more agency, and understand why he's still solving mysteries, which could be a great film in and of itself. This all sounds a little too theoretical for Scooby-Doo movies, but with the writers not understanding the core of Shaggy, we get nonsensical substitutions, ways to have outside sources give Shaggy's things to react to, like Shaggy having a cowboy ghost relative, or getting hypnotized into no longer being afraid, in 2 different movies. Daphne and Velma are a lot less theoretical, because their problem is quite on the surface. Both don't have enough personality to justify their existence, except for sheer stubbornness to the Scooby-Doo formula. Daphne is very inconsistent between movies, and Velma's sole personality trait is being smart, which is not a trait but a stat. One of my favorite moments in Scooby-Doo is this clip of Daphne being useful.
It's locked.
It's the old eyelash curler metal dog tag technique.
Of course, man. Why didn't I think of that? Sweet.
It comes out of nowhere, but I would love to see this be the status quo. Give Daphne street smarts. Have her bust out a bunch of life hacks or great emotional intelligence. To fix Velma, I think that she should have more than just being intelligent, by being self-aware of the weirdness of their wacky situations. Have her be the straight man all the other crazy kooks can bounce off of. I honestly am surprised they haven't done this. It seems so obvious to me. Finally, number 5. Never stop improving. To me, there's something really special that there's been consistent Scooby-Doo media for 50 years. As time marched on, the Great Dane and his mystery solvers were forced to adapt, sometimes more successfully than others. And look where we are today. A lovable Fred, good animation, and some of the funniest writing I've ever laughed at.
I'm telling you, reality's a simulation, girl. The universe can't implode because it isn't even real.
The low points of the franchise always seem to be when the larger studio interferes, not having enough faith in their brand to let it stand on its own. Scooby-Doo does not do well in live action. Stop trying.
Velma!
If it's not somehow clear by this video yet, I love Scooby-Doo. I made this video not because I lack faith in the brand, but because I believe these movies can always improve, which in my opinion has been empirically shown. As long as they keep improving, I have faith we'll see Scooby and the gang around for another 50 years.